This week's podcast is sponsored by MPB, the platform to buy, sell and trade used photo and video kit. MPB has the UK's largest range of used photo and video kit with over 10,000 products on their platform. Go to www.mpb.com to find out more.
Hello and welcome to the AV Forums Movies podcast for Monday the 26th of September 2022. Tonight I'm joined by Mark Costello.
Evening all.
Simon Crust.
Hello, good evening and welcome.
And Tom Davies.
I'm here too.
We've got a lot of ground to cover, so let's dive straight into competitions, Mark.
Okay, yes, this is me. So you can win a whopping 8 titles from Mark's superb September Top 10 Blu-ray article. It says here,
superb, yeah.
Including They Who Dare, Day of the Dead, Identification of a Woman, Criterion September titles, and top choices, Batman The Long Halloween Deluxe Edition and Bull Unlimited Edition Blu-ray. We've also got a shed load more Blu-ray competitions as well as those, so head over to avforums.com/competitions to enter. And all competitions are, as ever, open to eligible AV Forums members resident in the UK.
Boom. Got a lot of winners. A lot of winners.
It's a lot. We're so generous.
A lot of winners. Patron Sleepy One won a copy of Hellbender on DVD. And then we got a bunch of Blu-rays, so I'm going to not say the word Blu-ray for the next 5 minutes. Primetime won Frankenstein and the Monster from Hell on limited edition something.
Nice.
Christian 021 won Operation Mincemeat. Supreme V won the Studio Canal 4 movie set. Monkey Casino won Raw on limited edition. BJ Stabler won The Burning Sea. Testophilus won The Outfits. Luckily 1222 won The Midwich Cuckoos. Bob Biscuit won Walkabout on limited edition. Gary Uck won Randy Rhodes. Paul Bing won Eden. Turbot won The Galloping Major. What Palava won The Flying Scot. Chrissy won Explorer. CJ and won Monster on limited edition. MC1510 won The Mummy on limited edition. Patron Manjit won Sonic 4 on 4K. Patron Sam V 2001 won Event Horizon on 4K Steelbook. Patron Magic Candle won Flatliners on 4K, and Patron Makasu won The Witch on limited edition 4K. And ASL won the podcast exclusive Dirty Harry Blu-ray box set. Boom.
Sweet deal. Well read, Kaz. We're so generous. I hope everyone appreciates.
Well done to Manjit, who won a film that hasn't been made yet. That was pretty impressive.
Sonic 4. Oh, yeah, Sonic 4. Sonic 4. Sorry, Sonic 2 on 4K. Sonic 4 on 2K. Right, we have a lot to catch up on. The whole of September to catch up on. We're going to be talking Andor. We're going to be talking Trek 4K. Rings of Power, as you can see from Tom's background. Or not if you're listening, but Tom's got a pretty background relevant to our subject matter. Just imagine it. We'll start with cinema. What's going on at cinema right now? Cineworld. Last time we talked about how Cineworld was going down. They filed for Chapter 11, which means they've got some protection whilst they restructure, whatever that means. I think the hope is that they find some kind of financial backing, and that they prove that they're worth something over the next 6 months. They've got quite a long time. So we've obviously had some absolute gems at the cinema to prove that cinema is worth something, considering Top Gun Maverick lasted, what was it? Memorial Day to Labor Day.
6 years.
65 days of, record-setting box office. Nothing to do with the fact that there was nothing else out. But over the last month, we have seen 3,000 Years of Longing, Crimes of the Future, Beast, Fall, Bodies, 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 The Forgiven, and most recently, Don't Worry, Darling. But a lot of these have come straight to digital. If not in the UK, then certainly on the US. You can pick up some of them on digital in the US days after they've come out in the UK, and some of them in advance of their UK theatrical vows. So with these short windows and some particular gems that I noticed Mark has has had the unfortunate pleasure of watching like Retaliators and Jeepers Creepers Reborn, which unfathomably have made it to cinemas. It feels like the theatrical landscape isn't looking fantastic. So I'm going to go to Mark first, and he's going to tell us about the bad and the ugly.
Well, frankly, if the Retaliators and Jeepers Creepers Reborn is all that cinema is good for, it deserves to die a slow and painful death, quite frankly. Baffling theatrical releases, these. The only explanation that I can see for these is that there's just a dearth of anything else and they desperately needed content. They are the Netflix original movies of the theatrical landscape, these two. Reviews are up. I won't go into too much detail. Retaliators, a very strange mix of grungy, hostel-esque revenge torture porn movie that is dressed up as some cod religious ethical conundrum and then turns into an insane blood-drenched zombie movie at the end. It sounds
Should
great.
Be fun by the sound
it sounds great. It's not. They've completely forgot to have any fun of it. Structurally, it's all over the shop. It craps the bed, gives away its massive third act twist with an insane prologue that takes foreshadowing to new heights and possibly even more unforgiving. It's packed full of those god-awful middle-aged rock star cameos that everyone just wishes there was more of in their cinema. So that's Retaliators. But quite frankly, that was the apocalypse now compared to Jeepers Creepers Reborn, which, believe me, dear listeners, Kaz offered to pay me money to write a review for, and I turned him down because I didn't want to spend a single second more thinking about that piece of trash. I mean, Jeepers Creepers, the franchise no one wanted back from a creator who no one wanted back. And even if... I mean, it starts off well. The obligatory celeb cameo, Dee Wallace shows up in a short 5-minute rerun of the first film that gives you a false sense of security that this might actually not be terrible. But then, of course, we hurtle straight into the deepest depths of Hertfordshire, masquerading poorly for the deep south of Louisiana, where the old chestnut now, the internet influencers are paraded for a whole host of horror. There's a horror convention thing, which just honestly, words fail me about how terrible it looks.
That's almost the plot of the terrible Texas Chainsaw reboot.
Yes.
No.
It's. I mean, you've never seen such terrible compositing in your life. Honestly, there's VFX here that won't pass QA at the asylum, and it's almost worth it because I am pretty sure rumors abound on the internet that Victor Salva tried to sabotage the production of this because he was excluded from it. And when you see the very final shot of this, you would go, yep, he definitely sabotaged that. It is one of the most, well, it's either the most unintentionally funny or the most intentionally terrible ending you've probably ever seen to a horror film. And so, yeah, so quite frankly, how either of those got time of day at your local multiplex is beyond me. The only thing I can think of is it's the COVID lull is now starting to hit. The impact and the delays of COVID have now meant that production, the end results, shall we say, have slowed down, and there's just nothing to fill them with. But
Paramount is funding all of these in order to shove more people in Top Gun screens.
Possibly. So yeah, definitely the bad and the ugly there.
Tom has seen a lot of these. Are there some good in amongst the bad and the ugly?
Yeah.
Tell us about them.
Well, of the list that you sort of reeled off at the beginning of the section, the only one that I'm going to say I could wholeheartedly recommend is Bodies, 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 which is just an absolutely superb riff on teen slasher. There is a sort of revitalizing of using teen slashers to make a wider point about something. And it really reminded me of when Scream was new, and it at the point when Scream came out, slashers had a pretty terrible name, I would say. Up until that, for a long time, they had a pretty terrible name. And with Scream, there was like an injection of something into it, like a bit of meta commentary, a bit of humor. And I feel like the period between Scream and now, we've had a lot of dross, a lot of like stock slasher nonsense. We've also had some attempts to be a bit clever, very few of which have gone anywhere at all. But it's not until watching Bodies, Bodies, Bodies was I like, this is it. This is the type of slasher that is interesting to watch and clever and funny and also quite gruesome and a good horror movie as well as all those things. It's essentially a group of teenagers who gather at their rich friend's house to get drunk and get high, and then they decide to play like a teenage game, like a Wink Murder, like a werewolves type game, and it goes wrong. And it's just great. It's stylish and atmospheric and all the things that you want from a horror movie. Plus. It's brilliant. If you get the chance to go and see it, and you're not a scaredy cat, then check it out because it's really good.
Excellent. Sold.
Yeah, definitely.
There's a recommendation in there.
Other than that,
3,000 years.
I would
3,000 years.
kind of recommend 3,000 Years of Longing. It looks lovely on the big screen. As a movie, it's a little bit underwhelming. I think a lot of people saw the trailer and thought, nah, that's too much for me. I saw the trailer and thought, great, like an hour and a half of pure George Miller excess. I'm in for that. But it isn't really that. There are moments of that. All of the stories that the Djinn, Idris Elba, tells to Tilda Swinton when she uncorks his bottle. I was waiting for that. I was waiting for it. All the stories he tells are great and really engaging, and they're beautiful, and the production design is incredible. Some of the CGI is really ropey, like unforgivably ropey, I would say. But that's not what makes it bad. What makes it bad is that it completely runs out of steam for the last 40 minutes. And becomes a bit of a chore to watch. So I can't wholeheartedly recommend it. There are elements of it that are brilliant, but overall, if you're looking for something pretty to watch, then it's a good bet. But more than that, probably not, I would say.
A lot of these feel like things that I would happily watch at home.
Yeah, sure.
I was going to say I enjoyed Elba in Beast.
Mm-hmm.
So I've seen a couple of these, and I did enjoy Beast more than I should. It wasn't what was advertised, which felt a little bit like the equivalent Elba movie with lions to Statham punching sharks in Meg. This was a bit more in line with The Shallows and Crawl, except obviously Elba and lions. So
do you see Idris Elba punch a lion?
In a bikini?
Maybe.
Because if you do, it's already better than The Grey.
I mean, yes, you do. It has the bit from The Grey actually.
It's an implied punch in The Grey.
So yeah, it has
the
that
final second of the bloody film.
Yeah, it has the.
That's the movie I want.
Yeah, it does. I mean, I really enjoyed it because it's got something to say about the hunters, and it's got something to say about the sort of lion trade, and it's got Elba having problems with his estranged kids, which is very nicely unraveled. It's got Charlton Copley not talking about prawns, but stealing every scene he's in, and I really enjoyed it. But it's out on premium rental, I think, today, so don't go and see it at the cinema. watch it at home, which is what I'd say about Crimes of the Future. It's what I'd say about The Forgiven, which I also really enjoyed.
I would definitely agree. Say the same thing about Fall, which is better than I expected, but is not really worth a trip to the cinema to watch.
Yeah, I quite want to watch that at home.
Yes.
So it is interesting times, but do we have anything to look forward to? We got Black Adam, Mark. We got Black Adam. I hear you're seeing Black Adam, aren't you?
You're gonna pay me twice for that. Christ Almighty! Why do I put up with this crap?
We got Wakanda Forever, which is the close of this infamously meh phase in the Marvel universe. And we got Avatar 2. They're strongly pushing go and see Avatar at cinema right now, as if I haven't already. But we've also got Woman King, which Tom has seen a whole week early.
Lucky Tom.
Yes. Is that gonna single-handedly save cinema?
Not every film has to single-handedly save cinema.
Is it worth seeing?
Tentatively, yes, I would say. Go in with expectations sort of a little bit below maybe they would have been had you just seen the trailer and gone in super excited. It's a really good revitalization of the historical epic. It sits very nicely alongside Braveheart and Gladiator, though it is not as good as either of those, which is kind of frustrating because aside from the setting and the historical context of these Amazonian warriors from
Amazon,
from I think what is now Benin, but was then the Kingdom of Dahomey. It's really good. It's got a really enticing premise. I've been trying ever since seeing it and writing about it, trying so hard to avoid references to the flipping Black Panther, Dora Milaje. But it's like seeing a movie about them.
It's not a prequel.
It's not a prequel, no. But supposedly the Dora Milaje are based on these women fighters.
Prequel.
Yeah, it's a prequel. But it's I say like all of that's quite enticing as a premise, and that's really good. But apart from that, it is a very, very boilerplate movie. All of the plot points are stories that have been done to death, stories that have been done 1,000 times. As soon as things get going, you know exactly, who is going to become humbled, who's going to find their inner strength, how this rebellion is going to go and what the outcome is going to be. There's no surprises in it whatsoever. What there are a handful of incredible performances, especially from Viola Davis, who's absolutely stacked in this movie. I should talk about what a good actress she is, but all I can think about when I think is like, holy wow, she is built, man. She is shaped up for this movie, and she looks amazing. The second, like the screen presence of her is like none of her other roles, and she is a brilliant actress. She is a great actress, and she's recognized as such. But this adds like the like a physical imposition to that acting that I've not seen from her before, and it's worth seeing for that on its own. That it makes it an engaging movie. It's just not particularly original. It's not particularly new. So yeah, it's hard to say yes, definitely go see it. It's amazing because it's good, and it wouldn't be a mistake to see it. But I'm also not going to say this is the one not to miss.
I'm going to see it at home.
And you did so well there, Tom, to describe it without any controversy as well. You
There's
did
no
very well
controversy
there.
with this movie. There's
Very
no
well there, Tom.
controversy.
Sorry, that's what I meant. That's what I meant. None at all.
Nothing to see here.
Yeah.
Factually correct. Right. Okay. Well, yes. I mean, yes. It'll be interesting to see, I think, how the next few months pan out.
Well, I've been thinking about it though. Didn't we always have this post-summer blockbuster lull, even in the heady pre-COVID times? We never had constant banger after banger after banger, did we?
This was a summer blockbuster lull. This wasn't a post-summer blockbuster lull. So it wasn't even pre-COVID. Pre this year, I think the average for summer releases is around 66. In the 60s, we had 20. So 22, I think they got to. I mean, there's just not the content. Hence why you've got Retaliators, you've got Jeepers Creepers, because there's literally nothing they can show apart from Avatar or still Top Gun. And, I love Top Gun, but the only reason it's still in the cinemas is because there's just no
Bugger all else.
Yeah, there is. There's no content, so they keep wait a second, we've got 5 extra minutes of No Way Home. Let's put that back at screens. It's it smacks of desperation, some of the tactics. I have to say, trying to be enticed to go and see Avatar, trying to see 5 extra minutes of Spider-Man, like some of these things, you can see that there needs to be a change, and it's interesting seeing what's coming out. I mean, Black Adam's not going to do anything for me. Don't Worry, Darling was, because those are both Warner, and they were Warner's last 2 shots for 2022. They had only enough money to promote 2 movies, and they did Don't Worry, Darling, and they did, which has done kind of okay for what it is, but hasn't had fantastic reception. And Tom, of course, loved it. And they got Black Adam. Yeah. So I don't think it's looking great in terms of choices.
But does this offer us up an opportunity? I mean, you look at sort of what's at the cinema now, and it's a lot of those smaller films that, interestingly enough, were exactly the kind of films that everyone always said they don't make them anymore. Those small to mid-budget adult type films like Don't Worry, Darling is an example. Then you've got the See How They Run, which I haven't seen, but apparently is a fantastic piece of old school entertainment. And so does this offer up an opportunity, for example, to maybe see cinema move back to correct itself with more of these smaller to mid-budget releases? I mean, obviously we need the quality, which we don't have at the moment. But
I think it's a tough thing, because I feel like unless it's really good, or it's got a real big reason for why you should see it at the big screen, I'm not entirely sure I'm sold on there being a place for the 6s and the 7s out of 10s out there. I mean, maybe it's just a change in dynamic, but Maverick proved that there is still a place for big blockbusters done right. But there is, like you say, a place for, I would say, bodies. Going to see a good movie at the cinema, it's still a good movie. But going to see a kind of an average movie that would have been just as kind of good at home, maybe there's not as much place for those. I don't know. But I do like your idea. So if we can go with that, let's do that.
Yeah. The small to medium budget saves the day.
I like the idea that we could certainly bring budgets back in check, because I definitely think they ballooned out, and I don't think things need to be all effects driven nonsense. But
I mean, to be fair, I'm just amazed that I could go to my local multiplex and go and see Clerks 3. I mean, bloody hell, I never thought I'd see the day. But there you go.
But you're not going to.
I'm not going to.
No. Right, let's talk 4K, and it feels like we're coming full circle, because it was about a year ago where we were talking about the original Star Trek 4 film set coming out, And now we've got the 6 film set. And on top of the 6 film set, that one.
That one there.
Very nice. On top of that, we've got the big fat. Yeah, thank you. I was hoping if I dawdled over my words, you would.
What do you got to say?
Yes, twice the size of the 6 film set, but with only 1 film in it.
It's got 3 films in it.
Debatable, but
No.
anyway.
No, it's got 3 films: the theatrical, the director's, and the extended. That's 3 films.
So,
not that you can get them out of the bloody box.
What
they are a pain in the arse. Oh my god, they are a pain in the arse to get out.
So do it. Get them out. Let's do it.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
The films. Yeah, sure.
Watch a film fan cry live on the internet as he scratches his beloved 4K discs for an audience.
There it is.
What are we retailing for this? 60 quid?
Yes.
Okay. So tell me, sell me on this, because I've got the 6 film set. Tell me about it. What am I doing?
Look how wide this is.
Yeah, widescreen. It's white. It's full.
It is widescreen. So that's
1.
3, and we've got another fold here.
So you forget the length.
Fold.
Forget the length, Kaz. It's all about the girth.
Absolutely. Look, that's incredible, isn't it? So you get 4 discs. You get 4 discs, of which only one is, relevant to the whole set. You get 5 discs actually, because there's one sneakily hidden in this package full of tat here. This one here. This is the bonus disc with all the extras on it. And I did say that correctly, extras, because you don't get some of this stuff in this 6 set. You only get them with this. So it's more than just the 3 versions of the film. You do get apart from all the tat.
So last year we had the motion picture in 4K.
We did.
What have they done to the motion picture for this year's 4K?
They haven't done anything to the motion picture.
No, the
apart from add in the extended bit, because it's used. You can view it by seamless branching. So whilst it is the same picture, it is actually a different disc, because you've got the seamless branching to get the extended cut, and that's on its own UHD. The director's cut disc, I believe, is probably the same as this one, which is the 6 disc set. Yeah. Very different to the 4 disc.
What have they done for the director's cut then?
So that has been, according to all information you can glean off the internet, it's had a brand new scan, not only of the film negative, but they've gone back to the 65mm and Vista prints of all the effects and rescanned those at 4K, essentially recompositing the entire film. All the effects that were done in, what was it, 2001, was it, or 2006? The ST effects that they done for the original director's cut have been recomposited in brand new 4K, and they look in fact, they look a bit too clean actually, but they do look quite stunning. So it's like seeing a brand new film. It's completely different to everything else. Grain structure's better, colors are better. It's amazing. Apart from that one middle weird rotoscoping scene, which is a bit odd. Apart from that other thing, it just looks great. And it's the go-to disc. If you want to watch the motion picture, it's the go-to disc. Whether or not this entire set is worth, all the money over this, I don't know. I mean, that's a difficult one to answer.
Bumper stickers, Simon. Bumper stickers. That's what makes it worthwhile.
If you've got the director's cut on the 6-disc version,
then you've got the premium version there. Yes. Yeah. I would agree with that. Yes, you do. What you do get with this is the extended version, which is not available anywhere else, and it's in.
But you
UHD.
Wouldn't watch that.
It's a curiosity, isn't it? It's a very weird one. It's got 10, 15 minutes more than the director's cut. A few more character beats, but it's slightly reordered, and it's a bit long and it's a bit flabby. I don't know whether or not. I mean, it's worth watching just because it's a curiosity. It's not the go-to disc, certainly not, because it doesn't look anywhere near as good as the director's cut. The extras are quite good, but all the tat that comes with it, I don't know. Is it really worth it? It's a difficult sell. I've got to be honest. It is a difficult sell. If you've got this,
maybe not,
which is the 6-disc set, perhaps you don't need the full fat everything.
Yes,
I did. If you're a fan of the film, I needed it. Mark needed it.
Yes.
but whether or not you need it.
No, I've got the 6-disc, and I think I'm quite happy. I haven't gone back and watched the director's cut even, so I'm not really sure about.
It's much better.
Yeah, I will. I mean, I just, but I was reveling in finally watching 5 and 6.
Yeah, they're cool. They're really good pictures, actually.
They are really
very good job.
Yes.
Much better than the original 4, actually.
So I can't remember. Refresh my memory. Did in the first 4K, the first 4-disc release, did the motion picture have an Atmos track?
No, 7.1.
No,
none of them did.
I want to give a shout out to the Atmos track on this new.
That's very good.
It's
a very good shout, actually.
Man,
it is incredible.
It's great.
It really
so that's
is.
on the director's cut as well.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Well,
and that's absolutely worth playing because it's awesome, and it's all right from the beginning.
Top job. Top.
It is really, really good.
Apart from those god awful sparkly credits, what was that all about?
They were always there. They just look extra sparkly.
It's like disco credits now. I'm not a fan.
Well, it was nice to complete them. I feel very complete.
Absolutely,
with the Star Trek movies. I still can't justify the existence of Final Frontier, but I do feel very sorry for Shatner and for the film. And I still really liked that it didn't end there, but it ended instead with Undiscovered Country.
It's funny to watch that 5th film again.
It is.
Knowing how bad it is, it's never quite as bad as you think it was. Every time you watch it, it's not that bad.
No, yeah, it is.
I mean, there's bad bits.
Exactly that.
There's a lot of bad bits, but it's
it's got some bad bits. It's just a shame that in amongst it, you can actually see someone
you can see
who
where
has
it was going. Yeah,
he has a real handle on what made Trek,
absolutely,
and on the character dynamic of the 3 most important people in the whole Trek universe.
But that's like 5% of what goes on in the movie.
It isn't much, but a lot of the rest of it falls down because it feels like they didn't have the budget rather than because they didn't have the ideas. I think some of the ideas they were going for, this notion of confronting God, or is it God, are very Trek ideas. And they hadn't been seen in the series since the motion picture. But the actual way they unraveled them was so cheap and anticlimactic that it doesn't come close to being a memorable entry, but to say, well, what could have happened. But I am interested in the fact that, he did ask to have some time and money to redo the effects like they did for motion picture, and they said no. I think a lot of people would be kind of interested in what that might have shaped up to be.
Only if they completely redone the ending as planned.
Yes.
If they'd done the ending as originally planned.
What, going to hell?
Yeah. And the rock monster.
And the rock monsters, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'd watch that for sure.
Yeah.
Well,
I
was going to say, have you seen that someone on the internet, some incredible intelligent person with far too much time on his hands, has actually gone and done some of the Final Frontier effect shots properly, and they look amazing. That on itself would not save the Final Frontier. It just wouldn't. It does need gutting, but it has the feel of an OG Trek episode, and I think that's the problem. There's only enough content in there for a TV show's worth of sort of
Coincidentally,
ideas.
That's the problem with the TNG movies as well. On the whole, is that they feel like just a double bill episode.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Well, that and they changed all the character traits, didn't they?
Yeah, that's because of Frakes though. He's got a very specific idea of what Star Trek is, and it's not really what most other people think Star Trek is.
Yeah.
Well, it was certainly fun going back to Trek, but we've also gone back to the 80s, haven't we, Mark? You've seen Fatal Attraction, Lost Boys, Meaning of Life.
Meaning of Life, yep, 83, I think.
83, okay, it's pretty close. How'd you find those? Was it nice seeing them all shined up and looking fantastic in 4K?
Yes. Well, all three have been fairly interesting. So if we start off with The Lost Boys is always The Lost Boys. It is a classic, which by the way, dear listeners, Kaz finally admitted today to having never seen.
I've not seen The Lost Boys.
It's just a shocker. But anyway, what the new 4K restoration that Warner's have given it is absolutely blinding, literally in some cases. It's I think I put in the review that it is almost the textbook definition of everything you expect from a 4K wide color HDR.
Yeah.
It is bold, it is bright, it is detailed, it is glorious. Same, most 99.9% the same audio track, all the same extras ported over. You are going to upgrade for the lovely shiny new picture, and I think it's absolutely worth it. It's a lovely picture. Go down to the other end of the spectrum with Fatal Attraction, which it's come from a very problematic previous 1080p release, a lot of baked in DNR, which didn't help that Adrian Lyne shot a load of it soft focus with all that smoke and wafting light and all this kind of stuff. Now, the 4K is an improvement over that. There are times where the picture has all that lovely balance of organic looking, even fine grain and glorious fine detail sitting just underneath it. And then you will cut in the same scene to a shot where it is completely grain free and it's bordering on that god awful waxy appearance that unfortunately as 4K fans know all too well. So it's a real tale of two halves, Fatal Attraction. Again, it's the same soundtrack with the same extras. Actually, not even all the same extras ported over. The 2020 release in the States had a whole load of other extras, I think, that aren't ported over onto this edition. And then you've got The Meaning of Life, which is somewhere in between, which has a very nice scrubbed up picture. It was always a bit rough looking, huge amount of optical work in there, anyway, so it softens up quite a lot. But it gets rid of a load of the awful edge enhancement and real digital looking shenanigans that was on the previous release. And even hilariously, it gives it a massively unnecessary DTSX soundtrack. I mean, who on earth out of all those releases thought, I know, The Meaning of Life gets the full 3D object-based audio? It sounds all right. You know, the songs are great. It fills the room. There's very, very few spot effects. You hardly notice anything over a good up mixer of a traditional 5 or 7.1 soundtrack, but it's there. And hey, you know, good on Universal for giving it to him. So yes, I've had a grand old time revisiting the 80s with those three great films, quite frankly. And Simon's paid a visit there too, haven't you, Simon?
You got Poltergeist.
Poltergeist, yeah. Yeah, I enjoyed that. I haven't seen that for years.
I don't think I've seen that properly either.
Yeah, very interesting. Spinning that disc again, I'd forgotten how good, how well constructed and well made it was. Beautifully shot, beautifully paced, put together well, and there are some genuinely scary bits. Perhaps single-handedly telling everyone that clowns are scary, which was. Since 1982, they have been. Since before that, I don't think they were. It's quite a clever film. Not hugely original, but expertly done. Who directed? Don't really matter. It's still a great film. The sound is fantastic. It's only a 5.1, but it's good enough. Absolutely good enough. And the picture is awesome. I really enjoyed it. In fact, I enjoyed it so much, I actually went out. Well, I didn't believe I didn't own this. I wanted to see E.T. again because I hadn't seen it for such a long time. When they were made practically the same time, back to back, if not at the same time. And that's even better. It's amazing. We haven't even reviewed that on site. I don't know why we've not reviewed that one on site. It's an awesome film. Again, brilliantly put together. And that's got an Atmos track. And that's wonderful. Wonderful, that is.
Middle-aged men reminisce about the 80s. Who'd have thought?
Well, I tell you, it's made me want to. I mean, I have seen Poltergeist, but I haven't, if that makes sense. I saw it when I was too young to really watch it, and never revisited it. But reading the reviews of Lost Boys and Poltergeist has definitely made me want to investigate these, particularly as they're looking and sounding better than ever. It seems like the time. Yeah. This week, today, we've got polar opposites released. We've got Eureka's first. We've got the Police Story trilogy making it to 4K. And we got Jurassic Park Dominion making it to 4K. I love the Police Story films. I love Jackie Chan. It's a great set. They didn't have the third film when they remastered the first two for their Blu-ray sets a few years back. But Eureka have got the rights to the third for one, and they've remastered that, and they've done it in Atmos. So I very much enjoyed watching the third one, which my mind had told me was the weakest of the three, but I really did have a lot of fun with it.
Excellent.
Yes, I think if you are a fan of the films and therefore you probably own the Eureka Blu-ray set, you will love this. The 4K presentation is only that Blu-ray remaster given, the full bandwidth and time to look gorgeous. I think they've done a fabulous job doing the best they could with what were quite cheap and rough and ready movies. So I think there's a lot of credit to those. I think that if you didn't get along with the Blu-ray remasters from Eureka, you probably won't get along with the 4K set, but you would be wrong. So I highly recommend it. And seeing the films again just made me think, pretty much every stunt in the Mission Impossible films in one shape or another was done by Jackie Chan or indeed Michelle Yeoh with very little in the way of safety measures. I mean, if you watch the outtakes of Michelle Yeoh on a dirt bike jumping from a hill onto a moving train and missing it 3 times in a row, and you're thinking, health and safety, and you watch Jackie Chan grabbing onto a ladder from a helicopter, a bit like the Joker at the end of the original Batman film, dangling from that above a moving train. What are you doing, Jackie? This is So I mean, I love Cruise and I love what he does in films, but Jackie was doing it before, and he was doing it mad.
Mad, absolutely.
So,
but they're great films, aren't they?
Yeah,
I love them.
They are. On the other hand, Dominion. Who's seen Dominion?
I have, sir. I have, Mr. Harlow, sir.
Tom hasn't seen it. He should watch it because actually, just from a film fan point of view, I found it remarkable that they managed to edit a film that badly.
I haven't even seen Fallen Kingdom, so I'm not. You don't need to
for this. You could just watch this, and it feels like someone's made some kind of weird internet montage of bad bits from a movie. It's really, really oddly spliced together. There's no establishing shots. Characters kind of drift from one side of the screen to the other side of the screen from shot to shot, and it feels very disconcerting. Kaz. It's not. There's no sense to it whatsoever. Chris Pratt's character, there's a ensemble shot in kind of a headquarters. His character's like loading a gun over here somewhere in one shot, and he ends like over in the corner over here somewhere by the last shot, and he never makes it behind all the other characters. If you do this once or twice, no one's going to notice. But if you do it in every shot, it feels really like you had no handle on how to make a movie. So I found it one of the worst edited movies ever watched. Also, the acting is pure David Caruso, CSI Miami. It's really fabulous. It's really like it's like really. Look off into the distance, say some words. I mean, I feel sorry for them.
I'd like to hear this because this vindicates what I thought about Rise of Skywalker when everyone was complaining that they should have kept Colin Trevorrow on for it.
Yeah, I mean,
and all the way along, people were saying, "Oh, if they'd got Colin Trevorrow to do it instead of J.J. Abrams, it'd been better." I don't think it would. I don't think Colin Trevorrow is very good. I don't think he's ever been very good.
He had a whole year to put this together because they delayed it a whole extra year above what they had planned to make it, to perfect it. I think he spent that whole time just removing random scenes and shots just to make it incoherent. He was like, today I'm going to remove chapter 42. So anyway, that was genius. Upcoming, we got Top Gun Maverick finally landing, I think November.
No, it's October 31st.
Oh, it's obviously close. Yes.
Way off, Kaz. Way off.
Way off. With full IMAX, are we talking? We're talking full IMAX, aren't we? Yes.
Yes.
Like the digital.
Like the digital.
Yes.
Yeah.
We got 48 hours and another 48 hours.
Mm-hmm.
We got Reservoir Dogs with the most beautiful steelbook design ever. It's like
I'm coming around to this design. I've decided I like it.
Okay, Tom's not invited to the next podcast, so we've got this design of the guy with the ear, and you take the slip cover off, and his ear comes off. I don't want that one.
You have seen the covers for Poltergeist and the Lost Boys, haven't you?
Yeah,
let's be honest. It's a race to the bottom when it comes to.
They're better than the Reservoir Dogs.
I don't know. It's got a sense of humor.
No, it's got a sense of something. Orphan First Kill is coming to 4K.
Oh, goody!
Yay! It's going to be Signature Entertainment, as far as I can tell, their first 4K release.
Oh, what a shame.
Which I think is interesting because Dazzler have landed with The Outfit in 4K.
Mm-hmm.
Eureka have landed with the Police Story trilogy in 4K.
Mm-hmm.
Good films.
88 Films have done Mark Dacascos's Drive.
The best drive.
The best drive.
Good film.
And now Orphan First Kill from Signature, and Criterion, not in the UK because meh, are doing 4K in the US already. With rumors, I think Mark picked up rumors that Near Dark might be coming. I would say, have we turned the corner on 4K?
Yes.
We have, haven't we?
Yeah.
I mean, like this is pretty much everybody. These are all some niche labels.
Some real shocking stuff coming. I mean, you haven't mentioned Spit in Your Grave, Cannibal Holocaust,
yes,
in 4K. I mean, these are dire films. Who the hell's going to be watching them? Well, I know, but they're all there.
I will, sir. I mean, I will, Mr. Crust, sir.
I feel of that nature to come to 4K. I mean, when this sort of stuff was going to Blu-ray, we're going, hey, we've made it. They've actually made it. The format has made its impact.
Yes.
And now you're getting stuff like this. You think, well, perhaps it's going to last.
4K will only be ubiquitous when Shameless get in on the act. That's what I mean. Let's be honest. How they can cock up a 1080p SDR presentation every time. I can't wait to see how badly they'll balls up 4K and HDR. Come on, Shameless, get in on the act.
I think that 4K will be complete when we see True Lies and The Abyss. I think if that ever happens, that will be the last 4K release. That'll be it.
Well, speaking of I heard I read a horrible thing today. We all know Cameron's going back and tinkering, don't we? And he's prepping the Avatar and Titanic 4K releases, which is great, but he's prepping them with high frame rate.
Oh,
he's
no.
going back and he's converting Avatar and Titanic with high frame rate. What's all that about?
Yeah,
who wants that?
It worked so well for Gemini Man.
Oh,
didn't it, Simon? I mean, it was.
Oh,
Jesus.
Yeah.
That and Billy Lynn's Long Walk, or whatever it was. Oh, just never mind.
Well, to be fair, the HFR distracted from how crap the film was on that one. So
let's go out on a high with Vinegar Syndrome releasing Patrick Swayze's Roadhouse.
Pain don't hurt. Yeah, it does.
We're going to have some throat-ripping fun with that.
And it's in a Magnet Clasp edition, y'all.
I know.
That's right.
It is.
Come on.
Looking good. MVP Sam Elliott. Yes. Yes, I got a lot of time for that. Streaming and TV, come on. We still have a lot of ground to cover. Tom, Rings of Power.
Mm-hmm.
Do I jump in?
No.
Hurrah! I've saved my time.
How are we doing with it?
After seeing, what was it, 2 episodes that they released at the beginning? I've seen the first 2 episodes, and I'm gonna be a bit self-indulgent and read some of the words I wrote. I said, judged on its own merit, the show flounders in its opening episodes to give a good reason for its own existence above being a lavish fantasy series beyond aesthetic parallel. I was on the money. It looks gorgeous, but so little happens in it that it's not. This is not like a slow teasing out of details. This is glacial storytelling. I'm still watching it, and I have to say, I'm not coming away from any of the episodes thinking, "Oh God, I'm wasting my time." There are still elements of it that are genuinely good, not just the fact that it looks incredible, because it does, and they have realized Peter Jackson and the Weta Workshop's aesthetic perfectly. It looks like it fits beautifully in that set of films, in that universe. And some of the performances are really good. This lovely young man here, Elrond, he's one of my favorites. He finally, they're getting elves right in a Tolkien thing. He is joyful and happy and capricious,
just like Galadriel. Then
let's hold back on that one. But compared to Elrond, as we see him in the Fellowship of the Ring and in the Hobbit movies, who is very, very serious, very dour, he actually acts like an elf in this. He's light and lively and happy, and is just really, as a Tolkien fan more than a Peter Jackson movies fan, it's really, really gratifying to see somebody get that characterization right. And I really like him, and I think he's brilliant. And all of his scenes, especially in Khazad-dûm with Durin, Prince Durin, soon to be Durin the Fourth. Spoilers. Those bits of it are great and engaging and fun and interesting and wry, but around that there is this obsession with the both the high politics and the low culture of the island of Numenor. Numenor is like a Tolkien version of Atlantis, essentially. Super advanced men, humans, who are awaiting their prophesied doom where the island sinks beneath the waves. And all of that stuff is so boring. It's just so boring. And I'm clock watching every scene, which really sucks, because at the beginning, because all of those scenes involve Galadriel, who you mentioned, who is super stern and super hardcore and very fighty and feisty and undefeatable, and she's obviously got a lot of plot armor on. She's not going anywhere because we know where she ends up. And I think that Morvith Clark is playing her really, as scripted, really well. As in, she is doing a really good job with what she's given, I think. I really rate her as an actress, and the first 2 episodes of Rings of Power, I was like, yes, this is absolutely it for her. She's made it. She's got a part worthy of her skill, but the writing just isn't living up to it. And with 3 episodes to go, and still nothing having really happened of any consequence, it's a really tough recommend. So we're not. We've already.
Maybe not. Maybe season 2.
I agree with everything that Tom said. It feels like someone's gone, The Hobbit just wasn't long enough. I reckon we could take a story and stretch it over 50 hours. What do you reckon? But exactly like Tom has said, I'm enjoying watching it, even though when I'm watching it, I'm going, this
isn't going anywhere.
But I still come away exactly like Tom said. Go, well, do you know what? I still kind of enjoyed that. So yeah, I'm still with it. Just
I am more tempted to check out Tom's recommendation to watch Cyberpunk Edgerunner.
Yes, that's great.
Yeah,
I really loved it.
yeah.
You guys all raved about Arcane a year ago, whatever it was, and I finally got around to watching that, and it was quite good. I quite liked it. Edgerunners, I thought it was brills. I thought it was great.
Right.
A good Netflix original anime, Cyberpunk, based on the Cyberpunk 2077 game, loosely, like in that world, and it's just barrels along. And it's super violent.
Should we all try and watch this before the next podcast? I feel
no.
Come on.
How are the elves? How are the elves in it, Tom? Though have they got the elves right in it?
Couple of episodes. Simon's with me on this because he loved Arcane.
Yeah,
we'll do it, and then we'll shame Mark for.
You'll shame me anyway, you swines.
I think it's a good recommendation. I'm gonna see how C ends, final season of Momoa's Blind Samurai Fury. I'm gonna leave judgment on it until they go out with a bang, which they might do considering they've discovered explosives.
Hang on. They're all blind, but they discover it's a
complicated situation, and
I'm sure it is.
They're not all blind. They're not all blind, but yes, the discovery of Bang Bang is quite interesting.
One of them has got a single eye, and I believe he's the
key.
I would like to kind of recommend American Gigolo. I have a big soft spot for stuff by Paul Schrader, who was kind of a peer to Scorsese back in the day, just like Keitel was a peer to Robert De Niro back in the day. And Schrader's cinematic journey didn't go down the big Hollywood acclaim route at all. But in amongst there are some real gems. Blue Collar was a fantastic debut, and I have a lot of time for American Gigolo, even though it's got a horrendous title. And even though it's promoted as, topless Richard Gere.
Sold.
But it's very dark, and it's an interesting look at a very seedy, criminally inflected universe of male hustlers.
Sounds like our podcast.
Yeah. So they've gone back to it with John Bernthal, and they've told a reboot, sequel, adjacent story, whatever that means. It doesn't quite. If you really, really squint hard, it might exist in the same universe, but not quite. But it's also very conceivable that if there was a multiverse of American Gigolo narratives, this would easily be one of them. It follows on the story kind of 15 years later, and has the same characters still caught up in this quagmire. It's very nicely done, but I have been recently drowned in comments about the picture quality on Paramount Plus. Paramount Plus getting, I think, 4K, maybe Dolby Vision in the US. We've got none of that at the moment. They're talking about rolling it out one day. I'm enjoying it. I watch it through Apple. It looks pretty good to me. I have none of the problems that I used to get on Now TV, which I know is not a benchmark of quality, but which made watching things like Game of Thrones pretty unpleasant back in the day.
Yeah.
I have none of that watching Yellowstone, American Gigolo, flip it on through the Apple TV box.
I mean, it's the nose, face, knife kind of scenario, isn't it?
It kind of is. But I don't watch it and go, picture quality is just off on this. It's a good quality production, and it looks pretty good. It's stylish, but it doesn't lend itself to necessarily being demo material. So I'm okay. I mean, it's a gritty universe, and I've never once looked at it and gone, this is pretty poor quality. Why did I spend £70 on Paramount? But yes, it's been an interesting journey. That I think it might be that some people are under the impression that if I made more of a noise about how poor Paramount were doing in terms of picture quality, they would listen to my voice. And
you have the power, Kaz.
Yes.
You have
so Paramount,
the power.
Paramount, if you're listening, please, we want 4K and we want it now.
And for the same price, I don't want to pay any more for it.
And for the same price, particularly as the pound and the dollar are at parity, please, pretty please, with sugar on top, give us 4K. Okay, there. I've done my duty. Oh yeah, there's another thing that's out.
Welcome to Wrexham.
Yes, no, Andor.
Oh, not that.
Welcome to Andor. Welcome to Star Wars Andor.
Tell us about that. I've seen the first episode.
Yeah. No, we're not talking to you about it, are we? Because you made the mistake. You got to watch it in 3. Who's not watched all 3? Yeah,
Misa.
Okay. So the thing is, I fully appreciate how if you watch just one episode of this, it's going to be perhaps a little bit disappointing.
Nope, Mark's wrong. First episode's great.
Okay. Because I feel like Disney are stretching it a little bit with their runtimes. They list them at like 38 minutes or 42 minutes. They're not really. They're 30 minutes with 10 minutes of credits. But if you watch the first 3 episodes, it's like a mini TV movie. It's very much Rogue One universe. It's very nicely constructed with, the dark shadows of the Empire ruling with their own corrupt enforcement and this nation idea of the rebellion who have to rise from underneath all of that, scheming trash. I like it. I like the characters. I like the universe. I have to say, I like the fact it's got no Jedis in it. I like the fact it's got no crazy force powers or effects in it. I'm really sorry if that offends people, but I quite like. I want that as well.
As is so combative today, isn't he?
Yeah, I really am. I feel like I have to set the world right today. But I'm all up for Jedi, but I'm also all up for this. And
it's good. Yeah. They've accidentally made a good Star Wars.
Yeah. Well, Tony Gilroy, I got a lot of time for him. He's behind it, and I didn't know that coming in. So I was like, yeah, the guy can craft characters and tell a story, and it's crazy. It's the second time he's done this. He's taken a story that we know the end of, and he's made it the journey interesting, which is crazy when you think about Rogue One. Rogue One shouldn't have been one of the best Star Wars films we've had in whatever the last 40 years. It shouldn't have been because we knew where it ended. But it's all in the journey, and he's done really well with that. So I'm having a lot of fun in Andor. How are you finding it? Apart from Mark doesn't count. He's only seen one.
It's good. It's good.
How are the elves in it, Tom?
Hey,
how are the elves in it?
They're pretty good, actually. The elves, yeah.
The elves are right in this one, are they?
Yeah,
they're a bit cockney.
The thing that has sort of surprised me about it, 2 things that have surprised me about it. One is that the casting is amazing. I'm not sure what they've done differently, but the cast of Andor, there's not a drop note in it. Everybody is great. Everybody.
Even the grunts who disappear after one scene.
They're all like character actors that you kind of recognize that have been in a lot of stuff. I know that. And that's really good. It's really good that they've gone out and found a bunch of actors who are famous for being able to do stuff rather than famous for being famous, which I'm not saying that all of stuff, but a lot of casting seems to be done that way. And it's just very, very off-brand for Star Wars to have people talking to each other like human beings. Do you know what I mean? That people talk to each other and it's not a plot point.
Yes.
They just talk to each other. And that's really good. I really like that. It makes you, it's like you say, it adds to the end point being not irrelevant, but less relevant than what you're seeing in front of you, because what you're seeing in front of you is interesting the characters are being built and in a believable way and acted in a compelling way. And I'm eating my words because I couldn't have been less interested in this show before
I would
it aired.
say that. Yeah, I didn't. I was very surprised they greenlit Andor. I would not have. I wouldn't have even pegged him for a character that warranted his own show, let alone the story, which is a prequel to a story which we already knew the ending of. I mean, but yeah, they did well. Simon, you watching it? You enjoying it?
Yeah, I've watched it. Yeah, very enjoyed. It's different. That's what I like about it. You know, it's not the your typical beat 'em up, punch 'em up, quick in out, shake it all about, get the glow stick out. You know, it's very, very different. It's based on characters and their motivations, and that makes it a good show. You can take the Star. I mean, so I think you can take the Star Wars out of it, and it would still be a great show. You add the Star Wars in, and it becomes an amazing show.
Yeah,
I really like it. Apart from that stupid robot, that doesn't really do much.
I love that robot.
I got time for the stuttering robot. Very nice. All right. I think we're pretty much out of time on it, but
More than out of time.
I'm going to really quickly say that my shout out for the week is The Worst Person in the World, because Mark recommended it, and even though I read his review, I didn't get around to watching it, as is the case with a lot of each other when we're watching and reviewing stuff. We don't have the time to actually watch the stuff, hence why I say we should watch Edgerunners before next podcast. But anyway, Worst Person in the World. Mark, you were spot on the money.
Why, thank you, Cass.
It's a fantastic watch, and I highly recommend that everybody go out, give it a shot. It's unlike a lot of films you will have watched, and all the better for it. It's relentlessly honest, brilliantly acted, and extremely compelling, despite there being no bang bang, no lightsabers.
To be fair, there is bang bang. It's just a different kind of bang bang.
Yes, you had to go and do that.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. It's a very, very good drama. And
Yes.
I really enjoyed that.
Excellent.
So
Glad you did, Kaz.
I'm going to shout about that, and I'm going to go straight into the podcast competition for something else, which is a part of a series of films I haven't really seen. Don't talk about that. To win a copy of The Evil Dead on Blu-ray, you have to use the following question to select the correct answer from the competition page. I'm going to do this in a very complicated way. Sam Raimi's Evil Dead star Bruce Campbell recently had a fun cameo in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. So the question is, which Marvel movie did Sam Raimi's Evil Dead star Bruce Campbell recently have a fun cameo in?
She-Hulk.
Yes,
sure about that.
Yes, I know. The question is, I mean, it's a hard one, isn't it? Right. So, coming soon. Next week, Mark's going to review Elvis on 4K. Well, this week. Should have landed like today, Mark.
Yeah, it's not shown up yet.
That is ridiculous.
Have a word with Bezos. Oi, Bezos, get your finger out.
We're going to take an early look at Arrow's Videodrome on 4K. So the disc is over here, but it might be over there in Simon's hands. You never know. Magic. We're going to try and get our hands on Studio Canal's 4K of Arnie's Raw Deal. Mark has already got Highlander 4K in his hand. Yes, there is only one. We're going to look at Ana de Armas, Marilyn Monroe biopic Blonde on Netflix, and see if it's a good Netflix movie. Unicorns. We're going to check out the new acclaimed show The Bear on Disney. I've heard great things. Really am looking forward to that. About food and a restaurant, I think. So we're going to go with character.
Sell it, Kaz. You sell the shit out of that.
It's
Go on.
supposed to be really good. It's supposed to be really good. Anyway, I'll tell you about it later, and I'll give it a high score, and you'll all ignore it. But it's supposed to be good. Greatest beer run ever on Apple. Again, getting good reviews, not sold, but it's coming to cinema, which is a sign of definitely quality at this time. We're also going to look at Paramount's new TV show of Let the Right One In.
Oh,
maybe.
Why?
Maybe.
Why?
Because the last remake was so good.
Damien Bashir, yeah, they're doing it. Maybe they'll get the right one for the right one in this time. I don't know. They keep trying. do let us know if there's anything we've not covered that you think that we should check out. We'll
Barbarian.
ignore it, but you know, no,
Maybe
not
girls.
you. If you have something you want to cover, then you tell me, and I'll say no.
Can I cover Barbarian?
Yeah, we should do this Barbarian thing, and we should do ET 4K. But this is
Terrifying too. Terrifying too. Come on.
No, this is the end. This is the end. That's it for the AV Forums podcast this week. My thanks to both the hardware and movies teams. If you've enjoyed this podcast, please give us a like and subscribe to the channel, plus hit the notification bell so you don't miss out when we publish our live streams, product reviews, and more. You can follow us on Twitter and Facebook and bookmark avforums.com for the latest reviews, news, and videos. Plus, why not give us a 5-star rating on whichever service you choose if they allow it, but only if you enjoyed the show. I'm Kaz Harlow. Thank you for watching and listening, and join us for the next podcast on the 10th of October.
Night.